So you are certified, but you still feel like there's something missing, and you're wondering, maybe I need another certificate. You ever have that feeling? I think a lot of us have had that, especially if you're a coach, right? So maybe you do need another certificate. That might be exactly what you do need. What if what's missing isn't actually another certificate for the work that you actually do, but what if what's missing kind of skill altogether? Hi, I'm Debbie Pearson, and I want to show you the difference today between those two. So when something isn't working, most of us naturally ask ourselves, like, what else do I need to know? What do I need to learn, right? Those are good questions to ask. But I'd like to add one more question that often makes a huge difference. And that is, what am I missing? So is what I'm missing an outer skill or an inner skill? So let's learn the difference, right? Let's say that you're a coach and you're working with a client. The client brings something to the session and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really know how to handle that. It's like you just don't have the knowledge or the skill to deal with that particular situation. That would be an outer skill gap, right? When we have an outer skill gap, we have to get some training, right? We learn a new method, a way of coaching. We read about it, take a course. We get another certification if that's going to give you the skill that you need. Last part is very important. Give you the skill that you need to help yourself in that coaching situation. And if that's the case, then another certification could be exactly the answer that is right for you. But outer skills are basically, there's something I just don't know yet, right? This is where the distinction becomes a little bit more obvious. So let's say, again, you're that coach. You know how to coach, you're good with your clients, you know how to work with them, but now you're like, you know what, I need some more money. And in order to do that, the way that I do that is I have to get more clients. Then when it's time to get out there to talk about your work, tell somebody your price, explain why they should work with you, essentially ask for their business. It's like something changes. 5 minutes ago, you knew what you wanted to do, and now you could be doing shows up in different ways, but it could be hesitating, overthinking, questioning yourself, pulling back, feeling like you need to prepare more. You're like, what the heck just happened? I got to go do this thing. Why can't I get out there? What's wrong? This is one of the clues that you're no longer talking about the outer skills, right? You didn't suddenly forget how to coach a client or how to do your work. Something got stirred up inside of you as you tried to grow your business, and that something is an inner skill gap. So an inner skill gap would be something that says, I know how to do what I want to do, which could be, going to get the other clients, speaking on camera, creating a workshop. But when I go to do it, something happens, right? Many of us, we do human design and we learn, maybe I'm a manifester, or I forget the different categories, but you might know what you are, a creator, and love doing that work. But when it's time to put it out there for other people to see it, and you get that feeling like, oh my God, why is this so hard? Why can't I explain what I do? Or why can't I, share the worth of this coaching that I do? That's when we're looking at inner skills, right? So let's look at even a different way to look for clues about this. Think about how you feel when you're actually doing your work, right? You're with the client, you're listening, you're asking questions, you're focused on her or him. You're all about the connection and the contribution. You know what you want to do and you know how to do it. But then let's look at what happens and how you feel when the focus shifts, right? So instead of your attention being out there on the person or people you serve, it's time to tell other people about you and what you do and how wonderful your work is, right? Because it is wonderful, I would assume, right? So now this attention has changed and now it's all on you. So what does it feel like when that happens? When you have to explain to people why your work is valuable, what you do, what you charge, why your work matters, why they should trust you, right? Suddenly, maybe you're not feeling so sure anymore. Let's look a little bit deeper and see what's going on, right? So the skill that you need to do your work, that didn't disappear. You still know how to coach. Something else showed up and that changed things, right? I had a client that was fantastic online, right? She would go live like all the time. She was charismatic. She was engaging. People loved watching her and listening to the things she said. I guess it was she was really real and authentic, right? And she was great when she was talking to her audience because she's asking them questions and she's responding to their answers in the chat. She's sharing her thoughts and suggestions about their situations, what they should do. Then she started offering the free conversations, the kind that she can help them, but maybe they could work with her. And people took her up on it, right? But when it's time to actually ask for the sale, something happened, right? When she needed to talk about her work or her services or why they should use her methods and why they should pay her, she just couldn't do it. She just was like, God, something just feels off, right? She felt like there was something missing, and something was missing. She thought what was missing was that she needed more knowledge, right? So she went and got another certification, right? And then she got another certification. And eventually she ended up with how many? She had six certifications, right? But none of the certifications that she got actually addressed what was happening inside of her when it was time for her to share her offer, right? Ask for the sale. So even though she had all this knowledge and it was great, I mean, the certifications do great. She's got lots and lots of cred, right? But she still doesn't know how to sell herself. She still doesn't know how to sell her products or to get out there and share the importance of them, the value of them, right? So she doesn't have a contribution problem. She knows how to contribute to her audience, right? This is very important, the contribution part, right? She gets that. When she's focused on the other person, everything's great. It may be like that for you as well, right? It turns out that her challenge was when she showed up, when the focus was shifted to her and maybe them evaluating her, that's when everything got crazy, right? If they're evaluating her work, her worth, her value, her price, what other people might think about all these things, right? Asking for money, which is the sale that's going to help them, but it feels like she's asking for herself. That's when she finally understood that difference, the contribution to other people versus the focusing on herself. She's like, oh, now I see the difference. Something is missing, but it's not more contribution skills. It's more, why am I feeling this way and doing these things when I'm looking for the sale skills, right? So again, she didn't have an outer skills gap. She had those skills. What she was missing were inner skills to work with what was happening in her when the focus shifted to about her work and about her value, right? That's when she finally understood that something's missing meant I don't need more outer training or another certification. Like, I'm good at what I do. I need to figure out like how to market myself, how to get out there and share what I do, so I can and feel better about how I do that, right? So it was like, what's happening inside of her when she's talking about and selling her work, and she realized that's when it started to feel personal, right? So when we're focusing out there, that's contribution. When we're focusing in here, that's personal. Out there, contribution; in here, personal, right? And those are two very, very different kinds of learning. So outer skills are the skills you need to be good at what you do, and the inner skills are the skills you need to work with yourself when fear, anxiety, uncertainty, discomfort, all those things start showing up or affect how you show up. So it means to notice what's happening inside you, recognizing that what you're feeling and how those feelings might be influencing your thinking and your choices. Choices like, I'm not ready, or I got to get this to sound better. Things like this, hesitation, indecision, right? When those things are showing up, that's inner skills. But just like outer skills, you can learn inner skills. And just like outer skills, they become stronger as you practice them, right? So instead of deciding that feeling of something missing means that you need more outer skills, what you might want to do is dig a little bit deeper and ask, what kind of learning do I actually need? What specifically don't I know how to do? Okay, so I know how to do it, but when I go to do it, something shifts and changes, right? So I may know how to market, but when I go to market, I feel all kind of crazy, like what the heck just happened? And why can't I do what it is that I know I want to do? So if what you realize is, I do know how to do this, but there's something that happens that and gets in the way of me being able to do it, that's exactly what I want to help you understand. So this September the 8th, I'm teaching a workshop called What the Heck Just Happened, right? And basically, it's like we're going to be looking at what could be happening when you want to do something and then that something gets in the way, or you act differently than you expected to. Like, if that's the kind of help you're looking for, the registration information's below. And if you've been walking around with a feeling, it's like, it just feels like there's something missing, like, that's what I'm going to help. That's what those workshops about. That's what I will help you with. So when you have that feeling, pay attention to it, but don't immediately assume that you're like, oh, that must mean I need another certification, another training. You might, but you might not. Or you may need to just learn a different kind. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to dig into it a little bit deeper so you can identify specifically what kind of training that you might actually need. So okay, I finished everything I wanted to say. All right, again, here we go. What's missing? What am I missing? Is it outer skills or inner skills? With outer skills, I'm going to learn how to do something. And that very well may be that you need to learn. For example, let's say bookkeeping skills. You might have to learn that. Or, for your business, even if you're a coach. Or how to work with an unruly client. That might be a skill that you have to go acquire. But if it's like you've learned that, but you're having difficulty when you get in public, trying to put your work out there, that's an inner skill. That's what I'm here to help you learn. And if you want to know, like, what the heck just happened, and not just, oh, it's an inner skill, but like what that means, why it's there, and how to help fix that, that's what you want to come to the workshop for. That's on September the 8th. And again, registration's below. You do have to register through a Zoom link. So you're registering with Zoom, and you'll get the Zoom link in your inbox. All right, that's it for today. Have a great one. See you next time.